Rispetto alla democrazia, mi sembra evidente che è in crisi oggi dappertutto nel mondo.
Possibile che si sia esitato a riconoscere la criticità della nostra situazione?
Le democrazie non muoiono per omicidio, muoiono per suicidio.
Spesso al totalitarismo si arriva con la strada della democrazia.
Il popolo ha sempre ragione, a condizione che sia giustamente informato.
Il suddito ideale del regime totalitario non è il comunista convinto.
Gli slogan prevalgono sempre sui dati di fatto.
O il nazista convinto.
E la percezione prevale sulla realtà.
Ma l'individuo per il quale la distinzione fra realtà e finzione, fra vero e falso, non esiste più.
Noi confondiamo avere accesso a informazioni con avere conoscimento. Sono cose diverse.
Goebbels, che era il grande propagandista di Hitler, diceva: non importa se una cosa sia vera o non vera, l'importante è che sia ripetuta migliaia di volte.
Esistono degli strumenti di formazione dell'opinione pubblica che si valgono del web.
Non esiste democrazia che non è basata nella verità.
Ogni politico parla della sua come verità e gli altri stanno mentendo.
Ma la democrazia è anche un sistema pluralistico di scoperta della verità.
La democrazia si nutre di discussione, di dibattito.
Perché ci sia una democrazia è decisivo poter cambiare idea.
L'incapacità di agire insieme per il bene comune di tutti.
Cioè l'idea che il mio bene non può comportare anche il bene di qualcun altro.
La capacità di rafforzare il legame fra l'individuo e la comunità, fra l'io e il noi.
Forse il paese era distrutto, ma sicuramente non lo spirito del suo popolo.
Odzyskiwaliśmy poczucie niezbywalności wartości i praw człowieka i narodu.
Avevamo fatto capire quale può essere il significato del potere del popolo.
Occorre domandarsi per chi e per cosa si fa politica, cioè cosa ti muove.
Se vogliamo che la democrazia funziona, noi tutti abbiamo un ruolo.
Se non c'è qualcuno che si impegna, che si batte per questo tipo di concezione della comunità, della vita comune, non c'è comunità.
La prima domanda è: cosa posso fare io?
Dobbiamo riscoprire innanzitutto la ragione che ci mette in azione.
Che cosa resta?
Bisogna agire perché questo momento sia un momento di passaggio.
Resta la speranza.
Szukajmy, a znajdziemy.
La società nel suo complesso non può accettare un mondo senza speranza.
La democrazia, cari amici, non esiste in natura. È frutto dell'intelligenza e della voglia di libertà.
Le conquiste sul piano morale, sul piano sociale, come per esempio la democrazia, non sono fatte una volta per tutte. Ogni generazione deve riconquistarle.
Io sono una forza del passato.
Solo nella tradizione è il mio amore.
Vengo dai ruderi, dalle chiese, dalle pale d'altare.
Dai borghi abbandonati sugli Appennini o le Prealpi.
Dove sono vissuti i fratelli.
Sono nato sotto il fascismo, benché fossi quasi ancora ragazzo quando cadde.
E vissi poi a lungo a Roma, dove il resto del fascismo, con altro nome, continuava.
Solo io, segnato da un confine. Sproporzione incredibile tra questo piccolo me e tutto il resto del mondo, così grande, inesauribile anche nella nostalgia.
Fare questo viaggio consiste nell'alzarsi e vedere insieme tutto da lontano.
Ma anche nell'abbassarsi e vedere tutto da vicino, per continuare ad esprimermi senza il minimo pudore.
Io amavo troppo. Era fanciullesca, senza ironia, la mia dolce speranza.
La mia dolce speranza.
Figlio di una nazione povera e borghese. Poeta divenuto poeta chissà come. Chissà in che angolo provinciale. In che intimità strazianti, in che malvissuta, nobile mescolanza di ribellione e conformismo.
E io, feto adulto, mi aggiro, più moderno di ogni moderno, a cercare fratelli che non sono più.
Anch'io come un fiore, nient'altro che un fiore non coltivato. Obbedisco alla necessità che mi vuole preso dalla lietezza che succede allo scoraggiamento.
Poi certo verrà qualcosa che mi offenderà e mi massacrerà. Ma anche per me, come per i fiori di altre primavere, il passato si confonde con il presente. E un prato è qui, e insieme nel cosmo.
Dentro il mio cuore c'è un resto eterno di fanciullezza.
E non è il mistero del mondo che pur rischia d'essere vero. È troppo libero il mio cuore.
È troppo libero il mio cuore. In me lo credo e altrove vive.
Fratelli e sorelle, costruite senza stancarvi mai questa civiltà. Lavorate per questo, pregate per questo, soffrite per questo.
Il perno della scuola è il rapporto educativo che si vive con gli alunni.
E quindi il vero tema dell'emergenza educativa riguarda i ragazzi, ma riguarda soprattutto gli adulti, cioè noi.
Giovani che non hanno avuto davanti a loro adulti, che hanno potuto portare in cuore questo, non avranno nulla da poter imitare, se non la noia.
Il problema non è mai convincere i figli di qualcosa.
Un adulto deve emanare desiderio.
Il problema è ammazzarli di invidia.
Come diceva Sant'Ignazio, educare non si fa né con le parole, forse un pochino più coi fatti, ma soprattutto si fa con ciò che si è.
Testimoniare e proporre con la propria vita un modo di vivere nuovo, semplicemente.
Hay una diferencia entre educar y enseñar. Enseñar te puede enseñar un robot. Educar es amar all'alunno.
Può educare solo chi sa cosa significa amare.
Perché una vita che non è amata è una vita che si spegne.
Qual è la speranza che qualcosa possa muoversi? È soltanto un incontro.
Vivere nel luogo in cui sperimentare quotidianamente quella forma di ribellione che è la ribellione al nulla, alla morte.
Noi forse possiamo fare di più. Come possiamo aiutare?
I ragazzi non sono vasi da riempire, ma fuochi da accendere.
Possiamo cercare a scoprire agli altri le risorse dell'uomo.
Un'educazione integrale all'umanità è possibile nelle scuole in cui il cuore dell'educazione è l'educazione del cuore.
La libertà è l'obiettivo dell'istruzione e dell'educazione. E quando dico io esprimo totalmente la mia libertà.
Oggi sto sperimentando per la prima volta cosa sia davvero la libertà.
Dialogare con la libertà dell'altro equivale a prenderlo davvero sul serio.
Perché sono la conferma che il mio essere limitata è proprio il presupposto per cercare cose grandi.
Ci vuole un io ben incarnato.
L'unità della persona comincia dal fatto che uno mette il cuore in quel che fa.
Accompagnare un altro ad entrare nella realtà. nella mia vita sorprendentemente ha voluto dire essere educato, accompagnato, amato nella stessa dinamica.
L'insegnamento è una specie di missione che ogni musicista dovrebbe avere. Quello che ha ricevuto ha il dovere di trasmetterlo agli altri, una specie di non generosità ma dovere morale, secondo me. Noi abbiamo una propensione naturale per la bellezza. Un bambino appena nasce e vede il sole, vede queste cose e dice che bello. La mia famiglia era appassionata di musica, per cui io da bambino ho sempre sentito musica a tutti i livelli. Mi piaceva trasmettere le mie emozioni agli altri, perché la musica, come tutta l'arte, è condivisione, è trasmissione di pensiero, perché lo scopo principale della musica è parlare all'anima. La musica è il linguaggio più diretto e immediato, non ha bisogno di traduzioni di lingue, è un linguaggio che va direttamente al cuore e all'anima. E lo dice persino Shakespeare, l'uomo che non è toccato dalla bellissima musica è incline alla volgarità, all'avarizia e alla violenza. Non fidatevi di quest'uomo. L'arte è una ricerca del bello. Non per niente Dostoevskij diceva la bellezza salverà il mondo. È anche un educare me stesso alla bellezza. Io quando studio giornalmente ricerco la bellezza e ricerco la perfezione, perché la perfezione non si raggiunge mai. Allora è una ricerca continua della bellezza e anche della profondità, non soltanto del bello estetico, ma il bello anche morale. Le 4 stagioni di Vivaldi sono un esempio di musica figurativa. Che cosa vuol dire figurativa? Che la musica è accompagnata da versi che descrivono le fasi delle 4 stagioni. Sono come dei quadri, degli affreschi musicali che rimandano alla grande pittura veneziana del 1700 e sono descrizioni a parole e a musica della natura. È una musica che va molto nella mente e l'immaginazione dei giovani, aiuta a sviluppare l'immaginazione visiva e uditiva.
Buonasera.
Hello, good evening, everybody. Welcome back. It's such a great emotion to be here with you. And we had some little bites and small previews of mating. We're here for the Made the Mating 2021. So we go back to the fairgrounds, and there is a lot of excitement because we go back to a hall that we know very well, and this is where the main conference hall will be set up. So we are connected live from the Rimini Fairgrounds, and for obvious reasons, we have very few presences, but we have Prefect Forlenza and the head of the police, Di Cicco, who are here with us today. So we are back to the fairgrounds in Rimini, and more than 100 cities in Italy are connected live with us, also some cities abroad, and we're having a live streaming in English and Spanish. We have 110 cities from Aosta Valley to Sicily and through Florence, where we have Andrea Simoncini, one of our friends that is following us. So, but now we are here back at the fairgrounds, so I would like to call our host, the president of the Italian Exhibition Group, Mr. Cagnoni. The floor is yours. So I would like to say welcome to you, but actually we are your guests. So I'm very, very excited, and I would really like to greet President Bernhard Scholz and the authorities that are here with us, and also all the people who are connected. And in particular, I would like to send my special greetings to the whole people of the mating. So all the people who are in charge of the organization of this big event that is the mating for the friendship among the peoples. And to me, it is a real pride to be here with you. I'm extremely satisfied because this is the official opening of the 42nd edition. And next 42nd edition will take place here at the Rimini Fairgrounds. It may sound obvious, but it is not the case, because nobody would have imagined what would happen. I am extremely moved right now, and thinking about the next meeting edition, the 42nd one, that will take place from August 20th to August 25th, well, to us is going to be a very important moment, because that will mark the beginning of a big challenge that is about the restart of our fairgrounds activities, as well as of our conference activities. And so we are really proud and excited to know that this new era will start with the next meeting's edition. So for us, thinking about a successful meeting edition is really of great encouragement. So I really want to thank you for what you're doing and what you will do, and I wish you really all the best and the greatest of successes. So once again, I really want to thank you officially once more, and I want also to add a special remark that has to do with the great relevance of the message that this year you're going to convey with these reference in your theme to the importance of the I. So the very important role played by every individual, the role of individual responsibility, the need to question ourselves about our individual responsibilities. Taking up new challenges and facing new commitments with such a great encouragement, well, it's the best message possible. Thank you very much once again, and I wish to all of you, with my greatest sincerity, the greatest of all successes. Oh, thank you, President Cagnoni, for your heartfelt words. And, well, I'm very happy for sharing these big adventure with you. So we will see again in August. So the President made a reference to the title of the next meeting's edition, so the courage to say I, and this is taken from the diary of the Danish philosopher Søren Kierkegaard. And so let's start now delving into the next edition of the meeting. So certainly, as usual, we're going to really develop this title under many facets. And today we have with us Professor Andrea Moro from Pavia, and also the Pavia Square is connected to us. Andrea, can you hear me? Oh, yes. Andrea Moro is a writer and neurolinguist. He's professor at the University School for Advanced Studies of Pavia, IUSS, and I'm very happy for this live connection because we are going now to start better investigate these meetings themed the courage to say I. So, I mean, what can the study of the human mind say or add to this challenge? So, first of all, hello everybody. Well, the courage to say I is a supreme synthesis of what is human. So, if we look at this title, we see that there are three words that raise an equal number of issues. There is the concept of I, the courage to express it, and the word I. But from a certain point of view, there is a sort of natural, logical assumption that in order to be able to say I, you need to have the possibility to say I. When it comes to the possibility of saying I, well, we need to consider a few key elements. First of all, we need to understand that the word I is not an isolated atom. Well, in fact, studies on language acquisition in children show that the possibility of saying I necessarily occurs simultaneously with the possibility of saying you in a human brain. And so this is known from studies of language development in children. And secondly, we need to understand that this possibility of saying I is not a result of a need. It would be like saying that ears are the result of the need to hear. Well, actually, the opposite is true. So here comes the most important question. What makes a human brain a human brain? So a brain that is capable of saying I? Well, no one knows yet, but the main road has been opened up precisely by the analysis of human languages. And a third issue to consider is the following. Well, human beings are able not only to isolate concepts with words, something that other beings seem to be able to do, but what is most important is that human beings can combine isolated concepts together in generating new meanings. This is called syntax. And well, Noam Chomsky was being a guest of the meeting, even if virtually some years ago, started investigating this topic. And in particular, I tried to understand impossible languages. And we have seen that the biological roots of human beings are strictly intertwined with the language. So we could, for instance, go back to contemporary faith and philosophy and say that flesh converted into logos, into language. Of course, if we think about, the importance of language, we need to understand if this ability can be reproduced artificially in machines. Well, you talked about machines, so I want to ask you something, Andrea, because there is a lot of talk today about artificial intelligence. So what is the most important question to ask in order to understand the difference with human intelligence? Well, allow me, first of all, to say a remark that is about intelligence in general terms. It's very difficult to define intelligence in general, regardless of that kind of intelligence, artificial or not. But first of all, we need to distinguish the understanding of a phenomenon from its simulation. So there is a difference that needs to be understood, because understanding reality and simulation are different, because a machine can only simulate human behavior. So, for instance, a calculator gives me a result, but simulates how I would do that same calculation. So, if you want to understand how this is possible, I need to do something else. So, this problem was tackled as early as the 50s, but at the time, the prevailing word was cybernetics. But then, words come and go, and they know fashions as well. But at that time, it was shown that electronic circuits that function essentially on a statistical basis were not even capable of simulating the grammar used by children. Well, so let's not even think about adults. Today, the terms have changed, and we speak about artificial intelligence, but the problem is still the same, with the difference that the capacity for calculation has increased enormously, and that today it is much easier to simulate. So that's why we get confused more easily, and we try to imagine intelligent machines. However, nothing has changed with regard to the ability to understand the link between flesh and language. And so far, there are no shortcuts to the investigation of linguistic phenomena and their relationship with the brain. To recap, we can say that a machine will be able to simulate the courage to say I, but certainly will never be able to feel the courage. So, well, in a nutshell, this beautiful title that was chosen, well, is about the possibility to say I that comes before the courage to say I, and this coincides with the understanding of men's unique ability to express themselves with a language endowed with syntax, and with this to reach the absolute goal of self-consciousness, a word that the people of the meeting really loves and consider very important. Well, thank you, Andrea. I will certainly attend the conference with you, and so see you very, very soon. And now, well, thank you very much again, Andrea, for your participation. Now, let's move from Pavia to another place. And let's go to Kampala in Uganda. So we move to another continent, and we asked a friend of ours to say hello. And this title of this year refers to something else, because in order to say to have a plurality of people to say we need to have several eyes. I want to say hello to Rose. Hello, Rose. Hello, Rose. Good evening, Emanuele. I'm really grateful for this opportunity, because that let me reconsider my whole life. I could reconsider my encounter and meeting with Christ through Don Giussani. And, well, in the past, I thought that making an exhibition was something strange. And when I was asked to do that, I said, no. What are you talking about, an exhibition? It's not possible. Well, even this time it seemed impossible, but then I saw all my friends who started working on this exhibition, and they were so happy to do it. And I reconsidered what happened to me in my life, and I reconsidered all that as a miracle. And something that is really incredible, because I started from nothing. I was so fragile, but Jesus really wanted this relationship with him. He chose me, and with the other women, we're having fun. We are really eager to share this exhibition with our friends, to present this exhibition at the meeting, and we really hope to meet old friends, to meet new friends, and we are really eager to meet all together and to share the beauty to which we are drawn by Christ. And I'm very happy to see my friends so enthusiastic. So please come to Rimini, come to have fun with us. We're going to see each other to hug you, and I hope to hug you as well, Emanuele. Thank you, a tight hug. Thank you, Rose. Bye-bye. So, Rose will be with us at the meeting, and with her friends, she'll be at the center of another very important exhibition of the next edition of the meeting. But let's investigate even more. So now I invite here on stage the president of the Meeting Foundation, Mr. Bernard Scholz, who is going to tell us more about the next edition and the title. Good evening, everybody. First of all, I greet you all. Thank you for your interest in the meeting and for your participation. I'm very, very happy to start together this road and this pathway towards the meeting 2021. When we chose this title, so the courage to say I, taken from the diary of Søren Kierkegaard, the Danish philosopher, and mentioned many times by Don Giussani also. Well, when we chose it, we had before our eyes the extraordinary efforts of so many people during the first phase of the pandemic. So parents, teachers, doctors, nurses, volunteers, workers, entrepreneurs. And so we wanted to somehow underscore and strengthen this assumption of responsibility, this creativity to find these solutions, the ability to create relationships even in complicated circumstances. And also we wanted to underscore the importance to ask questions that were taken for granted. On top of that, we had before our eyes the initiatives taken by so many of you who created group gatherings in squares and who involved friends and colleagues, acquaintances, and sometimes even strangers to share the experience of the meeting. And so an extraordinary experience emerged, as we have just heard also from Rosa's words, because with the courage to say hi, you have created a we that was not so strong and present. Well, this year you are all invited to Rimini because, as you saw, we will open up our doors again. So you are invited to Rimini to attend the meeting in person and to bring your friends and meet old friends and meet new friends. So I would therefore like to give you some more hints about what awaits us in this 42nd edition. So we're going to have various testimonies from all over the world, from people who tried to be true to themselves, following the desire for goodness and happiness that they felt pressing within them. I'm just going to mention one example. For instance, we will hear from a young American man who was caught up in a moment of discomfort and loneliness by a group of extremists. At first, he felt welcomed as never before, but with time he realized that his questions and expectations were not being answered at all. On the contrary, he felt betrayed. At one point, he left these people, these extremists. He got out and started to help other extremists to leave the slavery and regain their freedom. And this personal story is very important because this shows a dynamic that we are going to explore furthermore. Because only a we that is born from the courage to say I, only a we that in turn supports the courage to say I is authentic and constructive. So this we needs to stem from inside ourselves. It cannot be imposed upon anybody. Any form of cohabitation, of group, of we, otherwise remain purely sentimental or ideological, and ultimately violent, or in any case alienating. We're going to better investigate the relationship between the I, the we, and the circumstances we live in an exhibition devoted to Tolkien, the great English writer who became famous above all for his work, The Lord of the Rings. And like few others, Tolkien paid special attention to the creativity of each individual. He considered this creativity as a gift, as a grace, something that went to the good of anybody. And the more one expresses one's received talent, the more one contributes to what he calls the polyphony of creation. And the more this creates bonds of friendship in which each one supports the other in the historic task entrusted to him. So we're going to have a high-tech digital exhibition that we also have a physical display here in Rimini. And then we're going to have an opening concert with Maestro Uta Ugi that will showcase the genius of a maestro who is really great at enhancing individual talents, creating a beauty that overcomes all distances and that unites everyone. This concert, as well as many other evening performances, will be presented in the center of Rimini. And we're also going to have a theatrical performance of a part of Dante's Divine Comedy, not only to commemorate the 700th anniversary of his death, but above all because Dante was able to evoke the greatness and drama of our freedom with his unsurpassable poetic ability. Well, you can see that the courage to say I enhances creativity and brings about responsibility and relationship and opens up to the dialogue. So the courage to say I is the antidote to individualism, narcissism, and the quest for visibility that all too often characterize public and economic life. So this refusal to engage with others and accept the challenge of relationships. We certainly talk about this in the conferences planned on the crisis of democracy and the crisis of intermediate bodies, but we will also talk about this in the conferences on economy and sustainability. There are many projects for more solidarity-based economy, for a more effective ecological transformation. However, what is becoming increasingly clear is that there is a shortage of people capable and willing to implement all this in a competent and responsible manner. All the more reason why we're interested in presenting entrepreneurs, professionals, and managers who have embarked on virtuous paths of sustainability to create new forms of work and new professions to carry out new, more sustainable forms of work, also to respond to young people's needs and family needs. So this is going to be a central theme in the TV talks that are going to be presented later on. In this context, we will also discuss about the Recovery Fund, Next Generation EU, and the National Resiliency Plan that does not simply want to go back to a pre-COVID situation, but mostly wants to seize this opportunity to build up a social and economic life that should be more solidarity-based. And, well, we're also going to have conferences and sessions on healthcare that will go in the same line, because the healthcare sector needs to be reorganized in order to better respond to many problematic situations that emerged with the pandemic. With the encyclical All Brothers, Pope Francis invited us to overcome individualism and self-referentiality in social and economic life and relations between religions and nations. We will devote a special session to this encyclical with the intention to deepen the link between the consciousness that we have of ourselves and our relationship with others. In this perspective of creating greater solidarity in a very tense and more and more unpredictable geopolitical situation, we will present a major international cooperation project that is also going to be presented right after my speech. So shortly afterwards. An attentive eye that takes care of itself and of the others is certainly less exposed to the harmful and undefined oscillations between conformism and rebellion that Pasolini warned us about in particular. An exhibition will be devoted to him precisely because he wanted to use his human sensitivity to oppose that cultural homologation that flattens desire and relativizes the singularity of each person. And his works highlighted the uniqueness of each individual, and in particular of the most humble people. And also he highlighted the strength of tradition in the support. Pasolini once wrote this very meaningful sentence: if someone has educated you, he could only have done so by his being, not by his speaking. This consideration brings us back to the powerful and delicate communication that we call education. Education will be at the heart of several sessions and conferences, and also at the heart of 2 exhibitions about schools, works, and initiatives for young people. Bearing in mind that education, first and foremost, asks the educator to allow themselves to be educated, because only those who have the courage to say I can be that you who encourages a young person to use their reason in all its potential, to develop their talent, and to grow in their freedom and responsibility. As you heard in the very beginning with the dialogue with Andrea Moro, we're going to have great scientific moments, asking the greatest questions, especially in neurosciences, and it will be particularly interesting to see man as both the object and subject of this research work. Well, these scientific questions almost always arise from the essential questions that we all ask ourselves every day, so as soon as we stop living unknowingly. So who am I talking about when I say I? Am I speaking about a random product of a biophysical evolution, or about a being who is wanted and called by his name? And what is the relationship between this I and the historical circumstances I'm going through, circumstances that I have not chosen? What does my I have to do with the universe and with the beauty of flowers or of music? Who can give me or give me back the courage to say I? Those who participate in the meeting with these questions and those who come here with the certainties of their experience and with the desire to understand will make the meeting richer, more interesting, more alive, and more useful for themselves and for everyone else. So I really invite you to come to Rimini wholeheartedly. Come with your curiosity and above all with your friendship. A big hug to all, and I really hope to see you all in Rimini. Thank you very much, Bernard. Thank you very much indeed, because you helped us better understand what we're going to find here in Rimini at the meeting, and we're going to go into more details about the program in a few weeks' time. But thank you very much, because you painted a broad and very rich picture of what awaits us. And Bernard also mentioned something else that is very important and that characterizes the meeting, because we have been cooperating for a long time with the Ministry of Foreign Affairs International Cooperation. Last year we had as a guest the European Commission. And well, this year we're very honored to have another special guest, because we're going to have a meaningful presence of the World Food Programme. And but let's see what is this about. Welcome to the United Nations Humanitarian Response Depot, known by its acronym UNHRD in Brindisi. Due to its key position on the Italian peninsula and in the heart of the Mediterranean, Brindisi has played and continues to play a strategic socio-cultural role since the Roman Empire. These geographical features, combined with its infrastructural characteristics, have made Brindisi the ideal location to host a UN humanitarian logistics hub. The UNHRD base in Brindisi became operational in June 2000. It was the brainchild of the Italian government and the World Food Programme, also known as WFP. The WFP is an agency of the United Nations. It is the largest humanitarian organization committed to saving lives in emergencies, and through food assistance helps building paths to peace, stability and prosperity for those recovering from conflict, disasters and the impact of climate change. Committed for 6 decades to responding to humanitarian crises in the most remote corners of our planet, the WFP has built capacity and developed logistical tools that it makes available to the entire humanitarian community. The UNHRD is one of these logistical tools that the WFP uses for its own operations and places at the service of other UN agencies, governments and non-governmental organizations to support their efforts in preparing for and responding to humanitarian crises. The idea of the Italian government and the WFP behind the base was to be able to store, or as they say in the jargon preposition, non-food humanitarian goods and logistical equipment, so that at the onset of a humanitarian emergency, they would be immediately ready to be sent to where they were needed. This initiative proved to be far-sighted, and on what has since become known as the Brindisi model, other bases have been set up in equally strategic regions of the world, which together form the UNHRD network. These bases are in Accra in Ghana, Dubai in the United Arab Emirates, in Kuala Lumpur in Malaysia, Panama City in Panama, and Las Palmas in Spain. Over the years, the WFP has transformed its depots into humanitarian logistics hubs, thanks in part to the support of host countries and the donors of the UNHRD, as Italy, for example, which has been financing the running costs of the UNHRD base in Brindisi for 20 years through the Ministry of Foreign Affairs and International Cooperation, and hosted in facilities provided free of charge by the Ministry of Defense. Originally conceived as a humanitarian depot, the UNHRD network currently offers a wide range of logistical services, from procurement to free storage of humanitarian goods, from preparing loads to organizing their transport to crisis areas. The UNHRD offers logistical support in the field by sending rapid deployment teams. the bases also provide training activities, including drills and emergency simulations for humanitarian workers. The UNHRD's Brindisi base also hosts an innovation unit to improve, in collaboration with universities, partners and the private sector, logistics, equipment and packaging for humanitarian goods, to create new ones and to develop environmentally sustainable logistics solution. When it was established, the UNHRD had agreements with 5 organizations. Today, it has agreements with 95 humanitarian organizations, including UN agencies, governmental entities and NGOs. We will also be present at the next Rimini meeting. We're going to wait for you to show you our activities. We look forward to seeing you. And in the meantime, come down the runway with us to load the plane with humanitarian aid. As you heard, the World Food Programme will be present at the Rimini meeting, so we're going to wait for them. Wonderful. So Bernard has talked about the title of the meeting this year, and he really investigated many of the aspects that we're going to delve into. And one of these key topics is certainly work, that the pandemic really impacted.
Dopo il successo del 2020.
After the great success of 2020, the Foundation for Subsidiarity's in-depth talk returns to the Rimini meeting from August 20th to 25th, live streaming at 7 p.m. Talk 2021 analyzes the work to come, recovery after the pandemic, continuous training, lifelong learning, new professions, unemployment and smart working, sustainability and digital, with guests in the studio and on the air, data and research, live questions, reportage from Italy and the world. Leaders and people in the front line will take the floor. Ministers, managers, trade unionists, operators, hosted by Massimo Bernardini and Enrico Castelli, with Giorgio Vittadini and Massimo Faglini. The card to say I, the meeting's theme means looking at work and the future. From August 20th to 25th, every day at 7 p.m., the work to come, the online talk at the Rimini meeting. Well, Mr. Giorgio Vittadini, the president of the Foundation for Subsidiarity, should be connected with us. Oh, yes. Good evening, Giorgio. Well, let us better understand after this short video what we are going to hear about, in particular on work. Well, in order to say I, you need to work, to have a job, to change reality. For years, people have tried to avoid work or to dodge work, but instead now work has become more important than ever. And we need to relate work to fear, because almost 1 million of jobs were lost, especially among young people, among women. And probably we're going to have more job losses with the end of the stop to firing. And so this opens up new questions. What are the new opportunities? Because the world is changing, and more than 1 billion people in 10 years' time will make jobs that do not exist yet. We need to get ready to that. We need to react to crisis. And the third big issue is maybe the most important, is the eye that transforms and changes reality. And even when faced with problems and difficulties, this eye is able to go back to hidden resources, to restart the engine, as Don Giussani said in a famous speech. So we're going to delve into these topics with many people, leaders, ordinary people. We're going to share stories about, people who have reacted, and we're also going to share many figures and data. So this is going to be extremely, relevant in order to pave the foundations of a future with work, because without work you cannot only live, but also you cannot fully enjoy life. Thank you very much, Giorgio. And we are going to have a daily specific talk every day on this topic, and we're going to know more about that once the program will be ready. Thank you very much, Giorgio. Thank you very much, and see you very soon. So we already heard quite a lot about, what is going to happen at the meeting in August. And I'm very grateful now to present to you with something very special, because a dear friend will be with us on August 22nd, and he did something great for us. He offered us a gift, so he did something very close to where we are. Let's see what I'm talking about. We just heard Breeze, written and composed by Enrico McCarthy, a young artist from Rimini, and with Ludovico Einaudi. He recently curated the soundtrack of films that won Academy Awards, like The Father and Nomadland. And he performed not far from here. Massimo Marquez played the guitar, Massimo Zambardino played accordion, Veronica Conti played cello, Tommy Gaziani played drums and percussions, and for audio there was Christian Bonato. So I thank them all, and he already made as a preview a great gift and is going to be with us also during the meeting on Sunday 22nd. And so we're about to come to the end of our Meet the Meeting event, and I invite here on stage Nicoletta, who he's certainly the best witness of the great involvement that we had last year. More than 100 cities, many volunteers, both in Italy and abroad, that have always been with us. And since last year, they were able to express their creativity to contribute to the organization of the meeting. So together with Nicoletta, first of all, we would like to have a small preview of some contributions of friends and volunteers from all over the world. What is the meeting for you? Hello, I'm Pilar from Buenos Aires. To me, the meeting is a place that talks about my life and where my life is at stake. It is a place where I discover more about me, about the world, and how I want to be in it. The meeting is a place where you can breathe, the heart gets bigger, and where everybody feels home. It's a personal educational work with a social value. With the meeting, it was love at first sight. When I was very young, I started there as a volunteer, and I met the beauty of a overwhelming humankind, and I discovered a look at myself and the world able to unveil beauty and authenticity. The meeting to me is always a unique experience, opening up of your mind through an exhibition, a conference. At the end of the meeting, I'm always different compared as I was when I arrived. To me, the meeting is a great opportunity. It offers a great wealth of contents, social, cultural, social, and human ones. I could meet witnesses and leaders of the most recent history, and to be the leader and protagonist of my own life. And so all that feeds my soul, and incites meetings, but most of all, a breath from the world. The meeting is a unique and extraordinary experience. How can you not make it known to the world? That is why we said this year, yes, we are in once again with even more enthusiasm than ever. Why is the meeting useful for you and for the world? I'm Jesus from Madrid. I've been participating in the meeting as a volunteer for 18 years, and I worked there as a steward. If I were to tell you just two things that helped me over these years, is first of all, that is a place where you learn how to work, and this is something that then remains with you for the rest of your life. The second beautiful thing is something that told me the first guest I had to take care of. The meeting is a celebration of the faith. The meeting is one of the most beautiful things I've ever come across in my whole life. It lets us see and meet true, authentic, beautiful, positive realities from all over the world. It makes us understand that you are good to me, as the title of a past edition said. Now that globalization looks like a threat, this is a sign of hope and opens up incredible opportunities. The meeting started and lasted as an event. What strength could that beginning have, if not that of a testimony? The meeting gives everybody the opportunity to discuss and exchange on any issue. And this exchange is always fair because it is deprived of any possible preconception or bias. You can share the experience and be enriched. So it's an incredible experience. It's a way to discover a new way to look at reality, to rekindle passion and gets people together to reconstruct together. Events like the meeting are important because they reveal and show the good things from which we can start again. Trapped as we are, here we found a place where the passion for mankind is conveyed through the cognitive, loving, and creative capacity of man. And the meeting is like a gap between the usual way of thinking and the new way of thinking, bigger, wider, more human. What a surprise to see the faces of many friends of ours coming out of conferences or exhibitions with their eyes full of curiosity and willing to be in this gap. The meetings also place it encompasses everything and looks at everything. To me, building and joining the meeting means following this look that the world needs and that I need. Well, Nicoletta, it's nice to see you again. We have seen this video that is another small preview, and this video features many friends of the meeting, many volunteers. But please tell us more about this great support from all these friends. Well, first of all, I would like to go back to the video and say that well, we really and strongly wanted to make this video. Well, since the very start of our work for today's event. And seeing this great extent of commitment and engagement really encouraged us a lot when it comes to shaping the next edition. We were so encouraged. I mean, we really want to thank everybody for their support, for their continuous help, and for everything they're doing, because since the very beginning we had so much support also through donations. We never take that for granted. We never take any of this for granted. It's always a big surprise. We're going through difficult times, and we know very well that each donation is the result of sacrifice. And I say so today because it has today an even greater value. I think about the friends of the 110 cities. There are so many. I would like to be able to say the name of each one of them, who have been working with us for such a long time with creativity and passion. Well, they are helping us organize events aimed at the dissemination of the meeting and aimed at raising funds for the meeting. So now, well, we have been asked, why is the meeting useful? I mean, what happens at the meeting is something that help people better face anything in life, in personal life, in professional life, in social and political life. And we are helped to do that with a bigger and more open heart, with a greater responsibility, and with a more daring passion. And we think that this is key for the relaunch or restart of our country and other countries that are in difficulty. So please do not stop donating. And on our website, you will find all the indications and instructions. So thank you very much indeed to all those who have been supporting us so far, and thank you for everything you'll be able to do in the future and for everything you've done so far. Thank you very much, Nicoletta. I join your words, and so as Bernard already said, so we really invite you all to Rimini. So from today onwards, an approaching pathway will start and accompany us toward August. There will be approaching steps and podcasts. So let's keep in touch through the website, the YouTube channel, and the usual tools that you already know because you are very familiar with those. I thank you very much indeed for being with us. Thank you very much for following us and staying with us. And so see you next August here in Rimini from August 20th to 25th. Thank you once again and good evening, everybody.